What is up, guys? Bingo49 here. We are back on the Desolation map. Yes, we're back downtown. That's where we belong these days. I belong in downtown. I feel like I need to be here. I feel like we need to see some progress here in downtown. So that's what we're gonna do today. Oh, what is that? What is that in their background? Yeah, I did some work off camera, guys. I did a lot of work, actually. I did some of the work on a live stream, a Twitch live stream that I just happened to do earlier this week. Did you guys check that out? If you haven't checked it out, go follow me on Twitch so you stay up to date. You can watch the past Twitch live stream anytime until I do the next one, then it gets erased. Anyway, I've been working on this skyscraper and I've been working hard on it, actually, and it's pretty much done exterior wise. I put all the details that I wanted to put, and it's ready to go interior wise, which is what I'm going to work on today. But I just want to caution you guys, this is going to be one of those episodes where, as far as the things you see on screen, I'm not going to get a lot done. Okay, I got to double skin my walls, and I probably should have done that off screen, but you know, it was time to record the video, and this is where I was in my building phase, so that's what you're going to see. You're going to get the raw uncut, and that's what we're going to work on today. So I'm basically going to work on the lobby. All this area is going to be lobby, and the interior of this skyscraper is going to be offices. It's going to be sort of like the Hayes Tower, but not quite. Maybe a little bit more generic. Think of like, I don't know yet. We'll see what happens, okay? That's what I do. We'll see what happens. That's what I'll just say about it. So I'm going to work on the interior today, and today is Monday, so I'm going to do it in super fast motion, because that's the tradition here on the Desolation map. Mondays is Creative Question of the Week time, the part of the series where I answer questions provided by you, the community. And it was another great week of questions, and I really appreciate everyone who takes the time out to put a comment in the comment section. Anyone who takes the time to write a question, I really do appreciate it. I'm doing this for you, and you know, just by you showing me your willingness to participate shows that is worth doing. So I really thank you all, everyone. Even if I don't answer your question, I still appreciate you asking it. I really do. So thank you, and be sure to ask a question for next week, because this train don't stop. Okay, this train is always going to be rolling, and that's just the way it goes. Okay, so our question for today comes from Paper and Grass, and Paper and Grass asks, "What's your opinion on net neutrality?" Oh baby, here we go. Thank you very much, Paper and Grass, for your question. Net neutrality, it's on the tip of everyone's tongue this week. You know, I chose this question because it was a timely question. It was a question that everyone's talking about because there's been recent developments, and let me fill you in. I'm not an expert on the thing by any stretch of the imagination, but let me try to fill you in on what I know about net neutrality. Basically, Obama passed some laws that stated that the internet was free and open, that companies couldn't throttle bandwidth, they couldn't charge you extra for visiting certain sites, they couldn't make certain sites run slower, so that, you know, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of reasons behind it. It was net neutrality, so everything's neutral. Whatever site you go to has the same bandwidth of any other sites you go to. At least that's what it is in theory, right? And Obama passed it, and for the most part, I think people enjoyed it. People liked it. But recently, now that Trump's in power, a member of the Trump administration, or at least a guy who's been appointed by Trump to the FCC, has basically decided to enact legislation that would repeal it, that would bring it back and make the net not neutral. Okay? And wow. So as far as net neutrality, if we didn't have net neutrality, this is the way I think it would work. And it would work in the way that, let's say, for YouTube, for instance. YouTube is a streaming site that really requires a lot of bandwidth. People are streaming or watching videos in 1080p, 60 FPS, and that requires a lot of bandwidth. So without net neutrality now, let's say you're a Verizon customer. Verizon can basically say, hey YouTube, if you pay us extra money, we will make your site fast. If you don't pay us the money, we're going to make your site slow. And of course YouTube would love to do this because now their site is faster than any other site. And so I think they're, I don't know what YouTube's stance is on this, but people are kind of divided, and I don't know. Where I sit on this issue is that the internet should be free and open and unregulated. The internet is not something that the government should have its little fingers in. And so this guy who works for the FCC, who's passed his legislations, is saying that, well, we want government to step in a little bit. And I don't know. It's a very complicated issue because it's not necessarily government. It's basically the corporations. Let's put it that way. And what it's doing is it's giving the corporations such as Verizon, Comcast, and AT&T. In the United States, there's basically 3 internet providers. It's giving them so much power because now they can charge you extra for using these streaming sites. Maybe they can throttle YouTube, and then when you realize that your videos are taking hours to upload, or if you're trying to watch YouTube and you can't really stream very well because they've throttled the internet to YouTube, now you're like, well, I want it the way it was. How do I do that? Oh, you pay us a little bit extra and we'll make YouTube fast for you. Yeah, you should be saying right now. Without net neutrality, the cable companies, the internet providers, basically have all the power that they want to need or could ever desire. And I was doing some research for this video, and I saw that the guy who proposed this, I forget his name, used to work for Verizon. The guy who's trying to take away net neutrality used to work for Verizon. And all of a sudden, he wants to give Verizon almost uncontrollable power. Something's up. Something's rotten in FCC land, I'll tell you that much. And I'm all for not giving corporations power. And, oh man, the worst part about all of this is I did some research into the other side. I wanted to see what people who supported non-net neutrality and the people who don't support net neutrality, what their argument for it was, because I couldn't imagine why anyone wouldn't want an open free internet. And I was appalled and disgusted by the argument against net neutrality. Every article I could find was manipulation, was spin, was lies. Every single article I found on it. They were spreading lies. They're just trying to manipulate you into thinking that this was in your best interest to give 3 cable companies absolute power. They said that, okay, if let's say you're an AT&T customer and they're throttling your YouTube. And by throttling, I mean they're limiting the amount of bandwidth that goes through it. And they're saying that, okay, without net neutrality, you have the option now of going to Comcast or AT&T. But what if they all do it? There's 3 options in the United States. They basically, it's almost like a monopoly. I don't know what you call a monopoly that's only like 3 companies. It's not necessarily a monopoly because there are 3 companies, but if they're all on the same page, if they're colluding together, they can make it so that everyone has to pay an extra $10 a month or whatever it is to watch YouTube as you watch it right now. This is dangerous. We cannot be giving corporations that kind of power. The internet is created to spread information freely. That's exactly why it was created. And now to take away that free spread of information to the people is almost like infringing upon our First Amendment rights. And one effect of this is that now Comcast or Verizon or AT&T, let's say that there's a website that they don't like that goes against their policies or something that they don't like. They can just block your access to it. Because the internet's no longer free, now the cable company can decide what websites are valuable and which ones should be banned. So let's say, Comcast is run by a bunch of rich white dudes. Let's just say. Which is true, but let's just say. And they don't like people talking about, let's, for instance, say the Black Rights Movement. Now, the people who are running the cable provider can block Black Rights Movement's websites or they can slow down the traffic to them, they're free to do that. But the spin, I couldn't believe the spin I heard for this argument was that, this helps people. I want to know in what way this helps people. The only thing that this helps is the corporations. And as we all know, the corporations run this country. Everyone in the United States has internet. We're all paying for it. And we're paying to one of 3 companies. These companies are massive. They're huge. They hold so much power. You know how valuable the internet is. 3 companies are controlling it, and now the government, our own government, wants to give more power to these 3 corporations to decide what it is you're viewing on the internet and how you're viewing it. This is dangerous. We're living in very scary times, my friends. We're living in 1984. Every day we move closer and closer to George Orwell's 1984. And if you haven't read that book, just stop this video right now. Stop this video right now and go read this book that was written 50, 60 years ago. I'm not sure exactly. And see how all these predictions that were written in George Orwell's book are coming true daily. And it's scary. It's a scary time we're living in. And the scariest part about this was that the uproar against, changing net neutrality was huge. People were just furious. People were very vocal about it. And it seemed, from what I could tell, no one in the United States wanted to end net neutrality. Yet the FCC, five people decided on what the United States is going to regulate as far as the internet. 5 people. And they didn't listen to the vast majority. The vast majority were saying, we want net neutrality. They just ignored it, and they voted against net neutrality. Should 5 people decide the fate of the internet in this country when the massive majority of the population disagrees with what their ruling was? We're living in very dangerous times. Now, luckily, it's not that simple. It still has to go through Congress, and Congress has to approve this. So it's not over. They haven't completely banned net neutrality in the United States. There's still a chance that Congress could say, well, this is stupid. But what are the chances of that? What are the chances that Comcast, AT&T, and Verizon make valuable contributions to some congressmen this week? Right? To their campaigns. This is how our country currently works. I guarantee you that Comcast is going to get behind the politicians who are likely to end net neutrality. It's all about money. It's all about power. It's all about control. If you don't own a massive corporation, you have no power, control, or authority in government. The only people who have authority in government are the ones who pay the politicians who fund their campaigns. So while, I haven't wasted my breath, I know that whatever the population says, Congress is going to do whatever it wants to do. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what the people want. It doesn't matter what the people say. It doesn't matter how angry the people get. Whatever is in the best interest of the corporations is what will be decided upon in this country. So I'm not holding my breath. It looks like net neutrality may happen. Not net neutrality. The opposite of net neutrality may happen. Net bias. I don't know. So this is not looking good, my friends. This is not looking good. And I would tell you, contact your local congressman. But I know that's a waste of time. It's not going to do anything. Your opinion really doesn't matter. Unless you've got several $billion and you're willing to invest, a few tens of millions into your local politicians, then maybe. Then I would say, yeah, you have a say in all this. But you don't. And so you don't. So it's a scary time we're living in. And the best way to fight this is to not support these corporations. And I know that we all need internet, and they basically have a monopoly. And we have to choose one of the 3, basically. And it's we're basically getting screwed over as the American people. British people, you're not out of the woods. Okay, you guys have a free and open internet from what I understand. But once America, enacts his legislation, I don't think Britain's long to follow. I think, the corporations run the world, not just the United States. So this is very scary. It's very dangerous. And I'm not sure what the future of the internet is, but it's going to cost you. That's for sure. And the rich get richer. These multi-billion-dollar corporations, Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, the multi-billionaires will get richer. While you, who works at a wage job, you work 40 hours a week, you're going to just have to pay more just to get what you have right now. So it's not fair, it's not right, it's not just, but that is the way of a capitalist society. And we have the balls, the gall to make fun of communism when we're operating like this. It's scary, it's sad, and you should be concerned, I think. All right, that's the creative question of the week. I'm sorry I had to end on a sour note, but these are trying times we're living in. We're living in 1984. I don't know if you realize this. It's all happening. So stand up for your rights. Do whatever you can, because they're being taken from you one by one, little by little, until you don't notice them. All right, I want to thank everyone who asked the question for last week's video. I hope you guys will ask a question for next week. Please leave a like. Come on, the likes are down. Do you not like listening to me talk about stuff? If you guys want to see the series continue, I need to see those likes. I'm not begging, I'm asking, okay? So I'm also asking for questions for next week, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I really do appreciate all that you do, guys. All right, that's going to be the video for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Happy Minecrafting. Peace.